show you. This is Barber County, Kansas. It's down halfway across the state. That's Medicine Lodge. That's where the ranch is at, halfway between. Oh, there we are. There we be. Okay, so this is what I had to make a ranch out of in 1984 when the succession of the ranch came to me. And now it's to the green part. So I was really, from K-State, I said production agriculture. I had been keeping track of the rainfall. I had become very efficient because I had the ranch to run by myself. My background is I worked on the Gemini B space program as an engineer. I then went back to college and got my Bachelor's of Fine Arts and my Master's of Fine Arts and taught sculpturing. I lived off of my work for about 2 years before I came to the ranch. So I'm not a rancher. I don't own cows. I custom graze. So I call myself a used sunlight salesman. Fire's fire. I love fire. Cut a lot of cedar trees. Probably myself, I'm responsible for 1 million loss of cedars. I'm still at it. I had, being from my background and being analytical in everything, putting numbers in places and having structure flows and backup systems was a great example for me. I got involved with the NRCS, and my operation became an eclectic thing. I drew from Alan Savory, I went to Stan Parsons, I read NRCS, I read Lao Tzu, and this is the mix you see. I got really seeing and looking. There's two different things there. You can look, but can you see? And you can see, but are you looking? And it wasn't until I was taught and understood what the expression meant. You look down into the grassland. It all looks the same when you look across the top. Julie made perfect points of all that. Part of my educational background was education, and that's the more knowledge I have, the less I understand, and that's why I have David as such an ally, because I know he understands hardly anything. So keep presenting knowledge to him.
Fire don't stand a chance.
So as I improved this ranch, the hydrology started improving. I've got streams that used to be intermittent that are now a phase 3 stream in Kansas that flows all the way through the ranch. Didn't do that in '84. I graze onto the preferred grass species plants: little blue stem, big blue stem, Indian grass, side oats, blue grama, and hairy grama, and buffalo grass. This is one of the streams in the place. I'm very my riparian areas David Kraft has had and Dwayne Rice has had. We've done a lot of ecological surveys down this stream. I have Arkansas darters and other little fishies that live in there. I no longer sail with Columbus. You know, there's all the history are now saying that we were probably inhabited way back thousands of years before. But I've always looked at grazing management as being a Columbus style of grazing. Anybody want to take a guess at what Columbus style of grazing is? You put them out there, and then you go discover them 6, 8 months later. I couldn't do that because I got into rotational grazing. That's where I not first, but Joel and I, he was a DC over in Anthony when I was first getting started. I've now moved on to managed intensive grazing, and I was actually thinking this is ultra managed intensive grazing because I keep track of the rainfall. This is almost the place now. I went nuts cross fencing so I can use principles of grazing management, the 5 principles to graze the ranch. And here's why I did that. This is a solar powered pumping system I have to water the ranch now. This thing right here is the pumping system. It pumps up to this tank, and I've got about 3 miles of pipelines out to stock tanks so I can manage where I want to graze. Okay, this is a series of slides, and there aren't dates on this, but this started back when I took over the place because I wanted to figure out what the protein content of grass was. So I'd get a bottle of wine and I'd go out, I'd get a bottle of wine, go out and watch cattle graze, clip it, send it off and get it analyzed. I drank a lot of wine, but I got that graph. Had a good time. So then I was keeping track of all this stuff, and you can see I kept it till 96, that's 1996. And you notice there's a couple of things I burnt, but here is the most significant one. 1998, there's a star, and below it it says drought, 14 inches of rain. Dwayne Rice had come in 97. We went to Ranching for Profit. The charge to me was write a drought plan. I had a lot of figures on rainfall. I had all the production basis. With that and Dwayne's knowledge, we wrote the drought plan. And I say we, as part of me is a French, but it was Dwayne that wrote that thing, and I've implemented it every year since. I've only had 2-3 years of non-profitability running grazing custom grazed. It's allowed me a lot of flexibility, and this drought plan is now part of my son's operation. Why have a drought plan? What's the difference between a drought and a fire? A fire will grow back. A drought, it takes rain to make it grow back. On IRS Day in 2008, my neighbor burnt me out. Burnt 50% of the ranch right up through the center. My son and I fought fire till Thursday morning. We were devastated. My son said, "Dad, this is no different than a drought. We react to the drought plan. We follow the drought plan." We built a 1/2 mile of fence. Within 10 days, we were stocked and moved on through life. If it hadn't been for that drought plan and preparing for a drought, having the infrastructure with the water, the fences, and understanding my grass growth curves, like we've heard all that before today, that psychologically and physiologically would have taken me out. But because of the plan, because of my son's succession on the ranch, I'm here and I'm enjoying it. The opportunities that came about because of that, my son and my neighbor now combine about 2,000 acres on us and about 6,000 acres on him. So they run large herds of cows through the ranch. Last November, the West Cell had 0 stocking rate. The 15th, I'm driving down to Buster's to have lunch, and I look over and I go, "Oh boy, there's some kind of humongous wreck going on." Text my son, I said, "Mind telling me what's going on in the West?" "Oh yeah, we moved 600 head of cows in there yesterday." Thanks for telling me. You know, it's kind of been nice. That 600 head was in there for 20 days in November. That's pretty good stock days. It had also been grazed by, I think, 400 head in the growing season for a short period of time. Gives my neighbor's ranch a chance to rest because he leases that and he can run massive herds through us. Stock density, herd impact. They utilize the cheat. They were often arrested. Did it recover? Are we out of a drought? I think this is the new norm. Yeah, process. This is all about, when I was making art, it wasn't the end product. It wasn't this nice little thing. I was building sculptures that were pretty good size. It wasn't that. It was the process of doing it. Now it's the process of converting sunlight into protein. That's the process I'm involved in. It's a very intertwined, intermingled. Joel, help me with big words. You got a PhD. All I can do is try to dig a hole. Integrated system. It's very complex.
Transcendent system.
Transcendent system, yes. Just involved with these people a lot. And this is some of the stuff that we've put together with Comanche Pool and landscape management. These are all different partners, and this covers about 40,000 acres. And I live down here, and now down to the Z-Bar, which Ted 2 in the county owns. That's Ted Turner. He's Ted 2. I'm Ted 1. We work together doing prescribed burning. This is about the ecosystem. This is about the goods and services I deliver to the community. Water, quality, quantity, a succession, my taxes. This is what I furnish the community now with a landscape management. That's it. Jim.